Hey everyone out there in the land of YouTube, this is Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network, and today is Wednesday, March 30th, 2022. I hope you had a good day. We have so much in the news, a lot on the domestic front. We're going to touch on what's going on across the pond, overseas, just a tad, just a little bit. And then we're going to go to the guy that we're so tired of seeing his face and hearing about him, and we're just done. And today I actually, honestly, watching Morning Joe this morning, I was just kind of like looking at the headlines they were showing, and I thought, are they showing old news clips about Hunter Biden and the laptop? I thought maybe I was having a deja vu. I was in like a time warp, and I'm going, oh, he actually said it again. Trump actually said it again, that he needs Putin to look into Hunter Biden's, I don't know, crimes. Poor Hunter Biden. I mean, can I just say, whatever Hunter Biden did, if he did anything illicit, can I just say it pales in comparison, even if he is a criminal, which I don't get that he is. Once again, it's the distraction tactic. So I have a few questions written down, and I'm gonna first go to what's going on over there in Europe. And the first question that I have is, even though I'm not predicting what's gonna happen in the war per se, because I've been instructed not to do that, as you know, by my guides, I do feel that it's okay to see a couple of things. And one is, does Vladimir Putin really think that he's winning? Does he really think that Russia's winning the war? That's what I want to know. So let's take a look. I did see a clip of him today, of Putin. And let me see, what I really keep getting about him is this single-mindedness. And when I look at Putin, I almost feel like I'm looking at him in a past lifetime, in the sense that his demeanor is such that it just feels like he's in the 1930s to me. It doesn't feel like he's living in 2022 in his head and in his energy. It just doesn't. It's the strangest thing. I'm not picking up that he really. So I guess that would be delusion, right? Because energetically, Putin is in the 1930s. It's the strangest thing. I'm trying to describe what it feels like. It's like if you went to a museum and, like the beginning of World War II was depicted in the museum, and you would see him in the picture. It's very, very strange. So we're going to pick a few cards to see. Does he really think that he's winning the war? Does Putin really think that that Russia's winning the war right now? Let's see. Astrologically, today the moon is still in Pisces, and tomorrow it goes into Aries, and then we have, check this out, we have a new moon in Aries on April 1st, on April Fool's Day. On April Fool's Day, Corey and I are talking about doing a live show at 8 p.m. Eastern, so stay tuned for that. I'll keep you posted. So the question is, does Putin really think that he's winning? I'm not getting that the information is getting to him. This is the information. There's a lot of information, obviously, about Russia's, the guys just said downfall. Huh, interesting. I feel like there's a lot of information, but I don't think it's getting to him. I don't think the information is getting to him. He does know that they're losing a lot of soldiers, but I get this sense around Putin that with the generals, and a lot of them have died, a lot of the Russian generals have died, but I get this sense with Putin that the generals, it's interesting because there's a cup here and it reminds me of like poisoning. the generals are, they're diluting like in water, diluting the truth. And it's funny because diluting sounds like deluding, like as in delusional. So I'm really picking up that the generals are diluting the truth. So it's like a double meaning there. And he's getting the watered down version. Basically, Putin's getting the watered down version of what's going on. So that would mean that the amount of Russian troops that have been killed would be watered down, would be like, you know, just pretty much what can't be hidden is what Putin's seeing. But it's just so interesting how it just feels like his consciousness is in a different time period in the early part of the 20th century. So, wow. So then what happened was that I'm not sure what show Trump was on when he started spewing this ridiculousness. I do feel like his most recent rally in Georgia was quite a flop. And Trump doesn't do well psychologically, well, anyway, in general, but especially he doesn't do well psychologically when he feels his popularity waning. He's so like Putin, it boggles my brain how much they're like two peas in a pod. So I feel that Trump, this was kind of fallout from the low attendance at his Georgia rally, which I'm sure he's telling his people, his minions around him, whoever they might be nowadays, that to say that there was a huge crowd. But you know, some things never change, right? So then he starts spewing, I guess it might have been on OAN, but don't quote me on that. First American News or something like that. I have to go look. So he said that he wants Putin's help for him to get dirt on Hunter Biden. Now we know that Russia lies constantly, like Trump lies constantly. He should be a Russian, honestly. And we know that Putin would be happy to oblige. But then I'm just saying, you know, Joe Biden is like a big steel wall in the way of what Putin could do in order to mess with America again. And it's not lost on me that I saw a video clip of one of Putin's minions saying that they'd love to interfere in the, I'm paraphrasing, and it was in Russian, but it was translated. They'd love to interfere in the American election again, like they did before. These crimes are right in front of our eyes, and don't even get me started about how angry we are at the DOJ for taking so long to tell us anything. But we'll get to that. So I have some questions written down. And one is, one of my questions is, did this last rally that Trump had kind of signify his popularity dwindling? Let's check the pendulum about that. It's kind of obvious, but I do want to look. Does that last rally indicate that his popularity is dwindling? And it's saying yes. So that's kind of obvious, right? He's still saying that like Putin is his hero. So like, wake up, America. Wake up. I know you're all woke. You know, we should all get t-shirts that say proud to be woke. Proud to be woke. We're proud to be woke. I don't like that song. I mean, you know which one I mean. So the question, I want to look at the cards about it too. What's the last rally in Georgia? That was probably Saturday night. I think I didn't watch that one. Was it spelling the end for Trump? The fool card is coming up. He's looking like a fool. Actually, during these rallies, he doesn't make any sense, and there's a lot of word salad. A lot of word salad. And the guides are telling me that these rallies now are pretty much QAnon cult members. Pretty much across the board. And I watched a little bit of David Pakman interviewing somebody who's running for something in Florida. Anyway, didn't even catch her name, but she clearly didn't know what she was talking about. And this is what we have to, we have to counter this somehow. So, the Five of Wands, this is a card of great challenges. So Trump is facing a lot of great challenges with this rally situation. It used to be where he felt at home, but now it's looking like less wands, less and less wands, more and more challenges, and now he's starting to look foolish to more people. So that's good news. Some people are smartening up. I'm not sure, and I really do need to watch Fox News, how they're depicting this war, because we've seen oh gosh, I saw some footage today about one of the bombings, and there was this beautiful church with, it looked like a church from a drone view with beautiful golden domes, the before and after. I'm thinking, how long did it take them to build that structure? And then the after picture, it was gone. It's so hard. This is so hard. So it looks like the low attendance at the rally did affect Trump. And with what's going on in the news with the war on Ukraine, it's looking really foolish for him to be, I mean, he could just be quiet, right? But to tell Trump to be quiet, and that's like a cue to start spewing nonsense. I do think that it's really, if it's any consolation, you can't hide the truth from the people for forever. And I did see that there's an independent media company, what's the name of it? All the independent media got pushed out of Russia. They were living under the threat that they'd be jailed if they continued to broadcast. And it was Rain TV. I think it was Rain TV in Russia. They went to YouTube. I just heard they went to YouTube. So the news will get in eventually. Like, the news will get into the people that watch all those right-wing conspiracy channels. Fox News shouldn't be allowed to be called Fox News. The information will get in. Don't think the people that watch those things haven't seen the war. They're probably thinking other things about the war that aren't true, but the truth will prevail eventually. So I'm going to ask now how Zelensky's morale is. So we got Putin is living in a different era in history, in his mind. He truly is. Remember I told you a while back that I was asking the guides who Putin was in his past life, because I was trying to figure out if he was Hitler, and he wasn't. But I did pick up he was Prince Oleg, O-L-E-G, in Viking times. Who was vicious, vicious, vicious monster of a being. So how's Zelensky's morale today is a question. Oh, I'm getting the Fool again. Well, Zelensky, he kind of goes back and forth. I mean, it definitely makes sense because Zelensky's kind of like, am I kidding myself to think we can win this? That's just his feeling sometimes. And he's hanging on to every resource that comes in to fight this war for, like, dear life, literally, making sure that they're being resourceful and smart with their troops and they're fighting the Russians. He's being very, very, very careful, and he doesn't want to be foolish. Being very careful with the weaponry, making sure that they use it correctly, that they don't squander it like the Russians are doing because they don't know what they're doing. The Ten of Wands, Zelensky's feeling incredibly burdened, and I just get that he's, as much as he exudes a sense of, confidence and to the best of his ability, he's still in a place of, I don't know he's seeing so much destruction. How could it not be that way, right? He's like, I don't know if we can do this. But it doesn't mean that they're not, doing their best. It's not defeat that I feel. I just feel like, you know, you get run down, I'm sure. We can't even imagine. Can't even imagine. I'm going to ask a question that I don't have on my list, and it's the question is, are the refugees going to get enough aid? Are they going to get enough aid to, you know, to meet their survival needs? And I don't know about you guys, but for me, every little thing that I have in my life in terms of survival needs, I feel like I'm praising the heavens every time I like have a drink of water, or, you know, cook a meal, or, you know, take a shower. You know what I mean? It's just like, whoa. I hope we're all in that place, and I hope we all can dig deep into our pockets and give what we can to the Ukrainian refugees, because if it were us, we would sure want some help. So I do feel like a lot of aid is coming in from generous people and from the governments of surrounding countries and the United States. So let's just take a look at, are the Ukrainian refugees getting enough to survive? The Wheel of Fortune's coming. Oh, and the death card's coming. Oh, well, interesting. So the Ukrainian people they're getting a lot of help. They're not, obviously they've lost their homes. They're not going to get, you know, anything beyond survival needs right now. But the Wheel of Fortune is saying people will be kind and generous, and countries will be kind and generous. The death card, I'm surprised to see this, because this signifies the end of the war. That's all I'm going to do, is see if I get a time frame on that. Is that what this is signifying? And it's saying yes. The guides just said the war has already ended. I don't know. Wow, really? Don't fool me. Sometimes I have to like, are you sure? Well, I do think in a sense the war has already ended, in a sense, energetically. And I think that what that means, what I'm picking up, is energetically, the Russians are really beaten down. They're lying like crazy too. So, okay. All right. So if I'm seeing the death card, the refugees are going to get their needs met. Of course, you know, this is general. It's not like every single person, and the thousands and thousands of people have been killed. So sad, so tragic, so unspeakably awful. But the death card is indicating an end, and the Knight of Cups, gosh, this is so interesting. The Knight of Cups is indicating some kind of an offering. I said a long time ago that I thought that one of Russia's conditions would be, the pendulum kept saying that he wasn't going to go ahead and invade Ukraine. And then I had to cut out for a while and kind of process what was happening to the best of my ability. That wasn't why I dropped out, but it was like, wait. But I did sense before Putin invaded Ukraine that perhaps they wouldn't invade Ukraine on the condition that Ukraine doesn't join NATO. I think that's still kind of on the table. But the Knight of Cups is pointing to some kind of an agreement of some kind of ceasefire. Is that what I'm picking up? No. Okay, am I picking up a de-escalation? Okay, I'm picking up on a de-escalation. It's not an ending of the war. It's a de-escalation. So the death card here is indicating a change of direction. But I feel like this is a change of direction for the better. And I don't trust when they do like a timeout, like in football, when Putin's like, oh, timeout. Because I really do think, like I've heard reported, some conjecture that is actually, they're just arming back up if they take a hiatus. But I'm actually sensing a pause, because not to stockpile, not to shore up their resources, but more to just say we've kind of gone as far as we're able to. Russia, I'm talking about. Okay, what's the time frame on that? A week? No. 2, 3 weeks? In about a month. And it looks like in about a month, we're going to see Putin sort of cutting his losses and going. What a lot of loss. What an amazing tragedy. It's mind-boggling. I mean, I don't even want to say what that would look like in America if that happened. So we're not going to even go there with our thoughts. We're going to think about peace and harmony coming. Okay? Eventually. Looks like 4 weeks. Let's go back to Trump land. If you can stand it. I'm so tired of looking at his ugly face. Oh my gosh. And I'm not saying that to be mean, and I don't say that about people. But he deserves it. Where did the 7 hours of call logs go from January 6th? Do you want to find out? Let's take a deep dive into that, shall we? Where did they go? 7 hours of call logs disappeared. That's from like 11, like from 11 or noon to about 6:30 at night. No call logs in the White House? The guides are telling me they got flushed down the toilet. Don't they keep records in different ways? Wait a minute. No. I did see they were written on paper. Are the call logs kept in something other than paper? No. How can that be? I need to look into that. The pendulum just said it's complicated. Just so you know, that's the interpretation of that. Yeah, they were flushed down the toilet. Aren't there other records kept? Well, it's complicated. That's what the guides just said. It's complicated. Even I'm seeing the calls being deleted from cell phones too for those 7 hours. Boy, and I just sensed those Republicans on that day scrambling frantically, not because they were running from the insurrectionists. It was more that they were trying to figure out, whoa, how do we cover this up? Oh, gosh, it's unbelievable. Okay, so I'm looking at where did the 7 hours of call logs go? Is that a 7? 8 of Wands. They agreed together to destroy them. There was an old program on in the 70s called Get Smart. I think it was that. And then and the guy would get his not that I watched it, but he would get a recording and then of his assignment, and then after at the end the tape would self-destruct. It would just kind of, I don't know, catch on fire, just spontaneously combust. Anyway, I'm getting that sense that the Two of Cups is saying the call logs, they made a pact to destroy the call logs. And I see like the Ted Cruzes and the McCarthys and the Cawthornes and the Jim Jordans, and you know, it's a long list. Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz, and they all made an agreement. Josh Hawley, they made an agreement that they would go. How did they do that? Weren't they busy trying to not die? They really were. I don't know how they got it together, but they got an agreement to destroy the call logs, all of them. I get that some were flushed down the toilet. I get that Trump flushed them down the toilet. I do get that. The Four of Swords, they know that they're cornered, though. So there must be something else. There's got to be some other way that they can find out what calls were made during that 7-hour period. It doesn't look like the entire records are lost. I don't get that the entire records are lost. The Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands is swift. We're going to hear some news about them being recovered. Some semblance of the phone logs for those 7 hours is going to be recovered. 7 hours is a long time. So I'm thinking that they'll get some of it retrieved, recovered. I know it's sad and scary that Trump is still walking around a free man. But if it's any consolation, a couple things about consolations. If it's any consolation, the alternative could have been that we would have lost our democracy and Trump would be in office and we wouldn't be a free nation anymore and democracy would be gone forever. So at least there's an investigation going on. And if it helps you to just take a breath and just not be too frustrated, just know it could have been worse. We could have lost it all. At least there's an investigation going on. I know, it makes you crazy that he's walking around free. And in my mind, he's the most criminal person in the public light ever. Ever. In my lifetime. He's the biggest criminal I've ever witnessed. And I'm curious to know your comments on that. By the way, I do read your comments. I just don't play favorites, so I don't really comment back very much. Unless I feel like it's needed. So thank you for your comments. But this is so... Do you agree with me that at least there's an investigation? At least At least Joe Biden is president. At least we're not in as much danger as we were then. At least there's a chance of justice. We got to just keep thinking that way or we'll drive ourselves crazy. So the call logs, I do feel like the guys are showing me like a skeleton framework. They're going to put something together. They're going to have little shreds of evidence here and there that they can put together to make some kind of a case that, for having evidence about what happened during that time. This is bringing me to this question. I'm Trump heavy right now, and maybe I just need to get it out of my system. People have been asking the question, is Trump above the law? I know that last year in December, a lot of astrologers were talking about, Jupiter was going to be, moving away and he wouldn't be so lucky and he'd really be in trouble then. And, Jupiter, it's not going to be his friend anymore. And it's still going on. And I know in our fast-paced society, we lose patience easily. Let's remember, Merrick Garland is from a different time period, and this is not something that he's worked on in his career in the past. And nothing like this. This is unprecedented. This has never happened. I think Merrick Garland has been under an incredible amount of pressure to not prosecute. So let's ask, is Trump just simply above the law for some reason? For the past over 6 years, I have known that we have been at war with Russia and it was undercover. And I always question whether somebody is putting pressure on Merrick Garland that's connected to Russia. Maybe I should ask that. Let's ask that first. Is somebody with Russian influence, for entertainment purposes only, is somebody with Russian influence the reason that Merrick Garland is still sitting on this thing? Entertainment purposes only. In case Russia is watching, because I think they still have YouTube in Russia, but I'm not sure. Just saying. Because, and then, with this Bragg dude in New York, it just seems like there's a threat. Oh, no, Wheel of Fortune. It's not that there hasn't been, but the Wheel of Fortune means a turn of events in the DOJ. Patience. Patience. Patience is a virtue. We want to be virtuous. Queen of Cups. This is Liz Cheney. Between Liz Cheney and the DOJ. Hang on, I'm getting 1 to 2 months. I probably shouldn't tell you that because you're probably just going to start screaming at the screen. It's okay. You can. It's fine with me. The Three of Wands. Oh, this is interesting. So the Three of Wands is picking up the pieces and putting them together. I don't think Trump is above the law, even though he has been. I don't think he'll continue. That's a better way to put it. I don't think he'll continue to be above the law. I really don't. I haven't all along. It's just astounding how much corruption there is. and the American government. And this, you know, everything that's happened over the past 5 to 6 years has shown us the corruption. It's everywhere. I mean, we were just talking yesterday on the show that I did with Corey, just talking about global climate change and how nothing's happened, and it's all corruption. The reason that this planet is in the horrible state it's in, including what's going on in Ukraine right now, with thousands of people dying and losing everything, 4 million refugees, and Poland's taken at least 2 or 3 million. All of it across the board is greed and evil and corruption. If we didn't have greed and evil and corruption, then we would be on a happy, loving, peaceful, healthy planet. Imagine that for a moment with me. A happy, joyous, peaceful, healthy planet with happy people. I always think of New Zealand. Today I actually thought, I wonder if I went to New Zealand, if I would just stay there. Because whenever I've seen somebody like being like an actor or actress on, say like on Late Night that's from New Zealand, nobody pops into my mind. I don't remember actresses' names, but whenever I see that, somebody being interviewed from New Zealand, I mean, one of them was this cute little girl. Sorry, I don't remember her name or anything, but she was like, oh, he was like, what do you like to do? I like to hang out with my family and my parents, and they're all so wonderful. And it's like New Zealand. If there wasn't just overt, just blatant corruption and greed and evil, we'd be a little like New Zealand. I'm sure it's there too, right? Because you can't escape it, but it's to a lesser degree. Any New Zealanders out there? I keep on pulling the death card, people. I keep pulling the death card. Was I asking a question? I lost track. It happens. Well, this is about January 6th. The death card came up again. Now, don't be afraid of the death card. I know it looks like Halloween. It looks scary, but it's a butterfly. Look, butterfly. So the butterfly means new beginnings, transformation. I got the Wheel of Fortune a couple of times. That's a change that's a turning of the Wheel of Fortune, which is change. It's also karmic. The Ace of Cups. I'm actually sensing a little bit of just a little bit of relief coming in terms of the January 6th. Like, it must be that Merrick Garland's going to come out with something. And then the Chariot. Chariot is really robust energy moving towards a goal. So yeah, that's about the January 6th committee. They were great the other night. They were really good. They really told it like it is. And speaking of that, of the DOJ, in our meeting for Grassroots of Democracy, to join, send an email to grassrootsofdemocracy@gmail.com and type AYE in the subject line. In our meeting tomorrow night, I think what we're going to talk about, it's just an hour, you should come. And you'll get a link if you email that address. You'll get a link to the Zoom meeting every Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. I'm thinking that we're going to take on a new project, because what we do is we send emails to pertinent, places that need to have emails sent about voting rights, about Fox, advertising, and, what they're doing, about everything. I'm thinking that we're going to all collectively send a letter to the DOJ, send an email to the DOJ, putting the pressure on, because I think it's time for that. Can I get a witness? I think it's time for us to put the pressure on the DOJ. Merrick Garland needs to hear from the American people. Absolutely. We're going to do it. We're doing it. We're going in. So let's look at... Yeah, I had a lot of DOJ questions here. So let's look at, shall we look at Ted Cruz, who was on Fox News today saying that Democrats don't like democracy? What's wrong with his brain? Oh, the guy just answered me. His brain is mush. Remember when they went down to the border? Oh my gosh, that was horrible. And it just brings to mind, John Kennedy, which I wish his name was different. and Ted Cruz, and they're in their vests, and Lindsey Graham is there. I mean, what a bunch of losers. How did we get these people in positions of power and so-called leadership? It's just unbelievable. So Ted Cruz is on Fox News saying, oh, the Democrats, they hate democracy. Who the hell was trying to overturn our democracy on January 6th? Who the hell was on the floor saying that the election was stolen when it wasn't? Don't even get me started. Okay, so let's look at what's going to happen with Ted Cancun Cruz. And you know, when he was running for president, I think he was running for president. Was it Ted Cruz up there? I think he was. He was campaigning. I think it was. Anyway, I'm trying to remember. And he was bashing Trump for bashing his wife. Ted Cruz. He was bashing Trump for bashing his wife. And then he just flipped, and all of a sudden he was Trump's puppy dog. What's going to happen to Ted Cruz? His wife is going to divorce him. I don't know. These things just come out of nowhere. I think Texas is going to get rid of Ted Cruz. Because I see somebody taking his place. And a celebration. So there's that. He's sinking himself. that debacle at the Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson's hearing was just... there are no words to how despicable it was. Speaking of despicable, let's go now to Matthew Cawthorne, who actually, he went a little bit too far. But you know what? They go too far and then nothing happens. So let's see. Kevin McCarthy actually spoke to him, and I saw the little video clip of Madison Cawthorne. God, I wouldn't trust him with, I don't know. I wouldn't. Madison Cawthorne he's beyond evil. He has anger issues. He has he's seething with green slime. Madison Cawthorne. And the other thing I want to mention, and maybe you guys can comment about this too, because I'm sort of having a one-way conversation here, and I'll go live again soon. But are these guys just like perverted? I mean, what is everything about sex? Because Madison Cawthorne going, being on some kind of, I don't know, right-wing radio show and saying that he was invited to a Republican orgy. You can't make this stuff up. And was doing cocaine, and they were doing cocaine. I mean, how far are you gonna go? How far do you need to push it, Madison? Telling people to go shoot each other up, telling people to go shoot the Democrats, and it's just like, it just keeps going and going and going. And that Kevin McCarthy reprimanded him, I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall. And the image that I get of Kevin McCarthy, reprimanding Madison Cawthorne for telling somebody that on a radio show, reprimanding Madison Cawthorne for saying that he was invited to a Republican orgy. I see Kevin McCarthy having a meeting with him and saying, you can say these other things, but you probably should avoid the orgy. Don't talk about orgies, but you can say the other things. We're fine with that. Just really treating him with kid gloves. I don't get that he was yelled at, put it that way. Okay, so this is Madison Cawthorne. What do we see about him? I want to read on Marjorie Taylor Greene too, but it might be too much slime for one evening, but I can probably squeeze that in. Madison Cawthorne. Two of Swords. The Republicans are torn about whether to unseat him. I don't know how they do that, but the Republicans are kind of torn about what to do about Madison Cawthorne. Well, it's about freaking time they get torn up about it. And then I feel like Madison Cawthorne is going to do it again. He's going to do it again. I feel like he's going to weigh it out and go, no, I can't help myself. I'm that far gone. I'm that much of an idiot. I'm that much of a sociopath. And I'm that sick that I'm just going to do it again. I think Madison Cawthorne is going to say something outrageous again. Maybe it's not about a Republican orgy. Maybe it's about a Democrat orgy. But he's going to say something again. At which time, the Seven of Wands, it looks like about 7 Republicans are going to get together and decide what Madison Cawthorne, what to do about him. Because he's out of control. They are out of control, but he's extreme. There are different levels of out of control. He's breaking the glass ceiling, Madison Cawthorne, on the out of control front. Let's see. Are they actually going to, this is a case for the pendulum. Are they actually going to dismiss Madison Cawthorne because he's too damaging to the Republican Party? Are they going to tell him he has to go? That's interesting. He's going to, okay, is it going to be because Madison does it again? He doesn't care. Same mentality as Steve Bannon, same mentality as Peter Navarro, which we did read about Monday night. Madison Cawthorne, there's no filter, there's no stop, there's no breaks. It's compulsive. They're compulsively disgusting. They don't know how to not be disgusting. I'm just telling the truth. I'm not being mean. I'm just telling the truth, right? The truth is I don't know what kind of planet they came from, but it wasn't a nice one. All right, we're going to look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, who got up there at the rally apparently on Saturday and said, she basically claimed that, I still call him Mayor Pete because I can't pronounce his last name, Buttigieg, that was it. After all this time, right? You'd think I'd get it. And his husband, Marjorie Taylor Greene, said something about them using girls' bathrooms and riding electric bikes or something. I don't know, it was something else crazy. It's right up there in the Madison Cawthorne department. I don't understand how we're going through, and I'm not going to make this video too long, but now all these things are coming into my mind. How we got to this, why this outlandishness? Marjorie Taylor Greene. Walking away from her losses. And I did shuffle these, but I got this, the Republican Party picking up the pieces from the mess, and the Seven of Wands. I got the same cards. So her fate is the same as Madison Cawthorne. She's going to keep doing it. I did shuffle the cards. You saw me. You might have seen me. So it looks like they're kind of going down the same alley, and then I have the Devil card just flipped over. They're working for Satan. I'm telling you what. They really are. They are. What did Mitch McConnell a while back called Marjorie Taylor Greene a cancer in the Republican Party? Jeez. These people make Mitch McConnell look almost not that bad. That's how bad they are. All right, let me see. A couple more minutes, and then I'll let you go do whatever you're going to do. There's so much. I know, there's so much. It's kind of like, oh, pick a topic. DeSantis. Let's do DeSantis before we go. And there's lots more to talk about. So I will be back. I'm looking at Arnold Schwarzenegger's name here from the other day. I'll be back. Okay. Ron DeSatan. And speaking of perverts, and I'm just going to say it, they're a bunch of pervs, like with the hearing for Ketanji Brown Jackson. Why were they talking about this? I mean, it's a terrible subject. And we're not in denial that, child pornography and pedophilia, we're not in denial about that. We all know. You don't have to be telling us and talking about it in graphic, explicit detail. What's the purpose of that? At a hearing for a Supreme Court justice who's the most decent person besides Ruth Bader Ginsburg in terms of, doing what needs to be done in our country. And I don't mean to discredit the good Supreme Court justices, but, they're outnumbered. DeSantis. Honestly, DeSatan, guess what I just pulled? I swear, I'm shuffling these cards. DeSatan. Look, it's a portrait of DeSatan. Look at that. With the poor children that don't know what to think. Oh my God. Just when I think something takes the cake, him signing that anti-gay bill in front of those school children, don't even. When it comes to the children, I mean, don't throw the children under the school bus, so to speak. Ron DeSantis, oh yeah, he's causing a lot of pain. And he's working for Satan, and he's working really hard at distracting and at being as horrible as he can be. What a sociopath. What a sociopath. The energy that I'm picking up from him is he's addicted to manipulating things to be as evil as possible. Oh my gosh, I don't want to leave you on this terrible note. Well, let's ask the pendulum. Maybe it'll give us some good news about DeSatan. Is DeSatan going to keep his office? No. If it's any consolation, he's blowing it big time. Okay, so here's the deal. We have a lot of work to do to save our democracy. It's being hacked away at. The war has distracted the American people. It's related. It's important that we see what can happen if we lose democracy and how we have to fight for it. It's a terrible way to find this out, to really get it in our faces. But while the news has been very, very centered on the war, these Republicans have been working behind the scenes, they're up to their shenanigans. So we gotta pay attention to both things. What do they always say? We got to be able to walk and chew gum, which is kind of a dumb statement. But anyway, we have to work hard to save our democracy. So jump on the bandwagon, grassrootsofdemocracy@gmail.com. Type AYE, that's how they vote in Congress and the January 6th committee, I in the subject line. And tomorrow, expect a Zoom invite for our meeting. It's every Thursday night. If you can't make it one meeting or two or a lot of them, it doesn't matter. Just come. On Saturdays, we do email-a-thons for 90 minutes. So there's that. If you'd like to book a reading, my waiting list went away when I took a hiatus for 3 weeks. So it's annettedionpsychic@gmail.com. That goes right to my assistant, Matt. So thank you so much. I love you guys. I feel your support. I read your comments. I don't play favorites, so I don't comment much, but just know that I do read them. And I appreciate you guys. And check out Bridge Cape Ann video from Monday if you haven't already. It's in my community page, or just go to Bridge Cape Ann. And we're planning to go live on Friday. That's April 1st. And I'm not fooling. We're going to do it. I have Wi-Fi now, so hopefully it all works out. Namaste. See you soon. Take good care of yourselves. Good night.